Hello. Today I thought I'd just kind of talk generally about the dysfunctional government that we have and why that it's dysfunctional, which is all the more reason that I think people should really focus a little bit on who they're voting for. Don't vote single party issues. Look at the whole platform of the parties and see who really has the policies that would benefit you as a person. You know, let's start really quickly with the last election. Does anybody remember what John McCain's slogan was for that election? It was a really snappy slogan. It was country first, which is a marvelous idea. You know, we're all Americans. And this is what really gets to me, is that as an American, when the election is over, we should pull together and work together for the benefit of the country. Isn't that the objective of the government? I mean, to improve the lives of the people in the country and the country as a whole, the economy, the defense. But what we've seen over the last 4 years, and to a certain extent even going back further, has been just the extreme polarization of both parties. So what I'd like to address is basically the absolutely do-nothing Congress that we have right now. You know, when President Obama was elected 4 years ago, it was really a very historic moment for this country, and people everywhere celebrated. And even though you didn't know why you celebrated, you knew that you were celebrating. Maybe it was that we had gone 8 years with virtually no job growth, especially manufacturing jobs in this country. We had zero job growth. We had lost millions of jobs in the Bush presidency. We saw the collapse of the housing market, Wall Street collapse. Basically, we were spiraling toward another Great Depression. And with the election, it made everybody feel like, well, maybe we can turn this around. And that's a good thing. It should have been a good thing for the country. But recently it's been discovered that the very night of the inauguration, when the president was inaugurated, that the Republicans held a cabal, a meeting, to discuss their strategy for the Obama years. And in this meeting were several heads of both the House and the Senate and several influential Republican thinkers. Among them were the current whip Jeb Hensarling, Eric Cantor was there, who was the fellow that, Paul Ryan, who wrote the budget. There were several, John Kyle, James Inhofe, Newt Gingrich was there. And it was all put together by a Republican strategist and a pollster named Frank Luntz. And this happened the night of the inauguration. And what came out of this meeting was that they determined what their strategy would be for the next 4 years for the Obama presidency. And the number one goal they had was to defeat the president in 4 years, not to heal the country or help the country or bring us out of the recession that we were in, only to defeat the president. And the way that they said they would do it, they would stand unified against any proposal that he had. And boy, they sure made good on that. Over the last 4 years, if you go year by year, it has been by far probably double what any other president faced as far as filibusters. Nothing that the president wanted to do could get done if the Republicans in Congress had anything to say about it. In the first 4 years, or in the first 2 years, he had a slightly easier time. The Democrats controlled the House of Representatives and the Senate. Even though in the Senate you need 60 votes to pass anything, it was 59 votes for the Democrats, 60 initially, but then Scott Brown from Massachusetts got elected when Teddy Kennedy died. But you still had a few Republicans, like the 2 female senators from Maine, who really were still thinking about the good of the country. I'm not necessarily so sure that they were in on this plan. And in that period, they passed the Lilly Ledbetter Equal Pay, Fair Pay Act for women. And they talk about there's no war on women now. Go back and look who voted for it and who voted against it. Every single House Republican voted against it. Every single Senate Democrat voted against, or Republican voted against it, other than the 4 female Republican senators. And also the senator from Pennsylvania who ended up flipping and becoming a Democrat. So, I just would like to point out that their plan has worked beautifully. And then in the last 2 years when they took control of the House, they have done nothing but say no. It seems to me like the objective of the Republicans and the Conservative Party has nothing to do with country first. Otherwise, we could have been out of this recession 2-3 years ago. Instead, they want to focus on defeating Obama, and the only way they could do that was to keep the economy down. They wanted to keep any progress from happening. Do you remember when they ran 2 years ago? What were their message? Jobs. John Boehner, Speaker of the House, said, we're going to focus like a laser on jobs. How many job bills has the Republican-controlled House of Representatives passed? 0? 1? Right now, the easiest bill in Congress to get through is the transportation bill. The transportation bill basically provides for road repair, bridge repair, airport runway repair, infrastructure repair. They used to say it was the easiest bill to get through because it's not just Democrats aren't the only ones driving on the roads or crossing the bridges. Everybody uses them. They benefit the entire country. The only bill that I've seen that has come out of the U.S. Senate in a bipartisan manner, this bill came through the Senate 77-22. Truly a bipartisan bill. It even had Republican support. It passed the conference committee unanimously. It's been sitting in the House of Representatives for 6 months. John Boehner won't even bring it to the floor because the conservatives control the House of Representatives. This bill would add 1.2 million jobs in a very short period of time. And I predict that they will pass the transportation bill 3 or 4 months from now, before it has time to have an effect on the economy. The last thing they want to do is help our economy before the elections. Isn't that sad? Isn't it sad that in this country that politicians worry more about their own power and their own constituents and the special interests than they do their own people? Pretty sad situation. When our elected officials won't stand up and do the right thing for our country. Instead, they would rather send us off a cliff and leave people to struggle so that they can achieve their own political objectives.